A local home builder pleads guilty to being a con artist. The man's accused of bilking clients and investors out of nearly $3 million. And there are potentially more victims out there. More Americans are making the choice to unretire, but the decision isn't just about the rising cost of living. And how does your credit history affect how much you pay for your homeowner's insurance? The industry justifies its risk-based pricing. Those stories and the very latest scam warnings in today's episode of The Watchdog. Welcome to our brand new streaming show, The Watchdog. I'm Jen Pachano. We are launching this show during National Consumer Protection Week, and that's exactly what we intend to do here on this show. Protect consumers, share warnings and alerts, and help you save money. Well, there's a local contractor whose clients and investors say he's a con artist. Jeffrey Crawford of Cleveland Custom Homes, who was indicted for two separate schemes totaling nearly $3 million, has now pleaded guilty. Now, dating back to July of 2021, investigators say Crawford duped three customers into building homes worth between $600,000 and $1.3 million. That's $600,000. They say Crawford forged home loan documents to banks fraudulently, claiming that progress was being made on the initial build-out and that contractors were paid, thus releasing money for the next phase to Crawford. Prosecutors say Crawford used those funds meant for the next portion of the build for work on other projects or personal expenditures. Prosecutors also say Crawford took $430,000 from would-be investors, promising a return, but only delivering a check that bounced. Crawford will be sentenced later this month. Now, the county prosecutor thinks there are likely more than these 6 victims out there. If you believe you are one of Crawford's victims, you're asked to call the USSS Money Laundering Task Force. That number is 216-750-2058. The founder of Senior Veterans Administration Services has been sentenced to 4 years in prison for scamming the Department of Veterans Affairs out of $20 million in fraudulent benefits. Cuyahoga County Prosecutor Mike O'Malley says 65-year-old Richard Rampala preyed on veterans who were simply seeking help. Investigators say his nonprofit, SVAS, would falsify documentation to make the veterans fraudulently eligible for benefits and then send the falsified documents to the Department of Veterans Affairs, which would pay out SVAS. Rampala would either demand direct payment or a large percentage of the benefits before releasing the remainder to veterans. Well, there's a new tool available to help you spot, avoid, and report scams. It's a free resource that our partners at the Cuyahoga County Scam Squad hope you'll use and share to prevent scammers from getting to your hard-earned money. Time and time again, we hear stories of victims being duped by sophisticated scam artists.
He didn't have any way to access his money. He needed money. He was helping to feed the orphan kids there, and he needed gift cards.
This romance scam victim we profiled last year lost at least $12,000.
And he was moving money. I mean, it was so fast, it was like you couldn't keep up with it.
She came to 19 News wanting to warn others of the red flags she ignored and hoping to arm other people with a map or a guide to recover should they too get scammed.
And he took my Social Security and bought crypto with it. That was in my name. But then, of course, I don't know what to do with crypto. That has since vanished.
The Cuyahoga County Scam Squad is now distributing and sharing a booklet that people can read at their leisure and have at their fingertips to go back and reread if you think you're being targeted.
It's one thing to hear scam information when you don't actually think you need it or you're not really paying attention. And it's another thing to have information in front of you that will help give you a much deeper understanding.
Cheryl Harris with the Cuyahoga County Scam Squad says the guidebook outlines the many layers of a scam and the playbook most scammers operate from, so you can recognize when it's being used against you.
Even if it's not that exact scam
Sure.
that gets funneled to you, I think you'll recognize enough pieces and parts that you'll be able to, as you say, create a barrier so you know you need to stop and step back and then check somewhere else before you take action.
This guidebook also includes a blank action plan for you to fill out with the names and legit contact numbers and websites for the places you do business with, like utilities, banks, and online shopping sites. The Scam Squad is hoping you'll fill one of these out now so you go to the right place when you get a suspicious call, text, or email, and that way you can avoid a costly mistake. The guidebook includes things that you can do to be proactive, like regularly checking your credit to look for signs of identity theft and freezing your credit to prevent criminals from buying things in your name.
What people tend to do is rely on the scammer to give them numbers to call. They believe the scammer is who they are, so they just are calling the numbers that the scammers are giving them or letting the scammer transfer them, and they're just going to other scammers.
Harris says upwards of 80% of the scams they deal with start with calls from scammers reporting a phony account problem. But these could all be avoided if you use the action plan. So when someone reaches out to you asking you to do something with your money or your personal information, she hopes you'll hang up the phone and pick up this guide. You can download and print a free copy of this Scam Squad guide. We've got a link to it on our website. You can also find physical copies at local libraries and senior centers, and the county can even mail you a copy if you would like. Well, if you need to report a scam, you're certainly not alone. There's a new survey from U.S. News and World Report that revealed that nearly half of Americans get scam messages every day. 46% of the more than 1,200 adults surveyed said they get a call, text, or email from a scammer daily. More than 3/4 of them say they get communications they suspect are scams at least once a week. And nearly 20% say they're hit with suspicious calls, texts, or emails multiple times a day. And you guessed it, 80% of those polled say AI has made it harder to detect a scam. Nearly a quarter have lost money to a financial scam in the last 3 years, and only 36% of them got the funds back. The average amount lost was $1,917. Now, the good news is most say they have changed their online behavior or financial habits to protect themselves from scams, like being more cautious about giving personal information over the phone, in text, or email. And they're also more likely to delete or ignore messages from senders they don't know. The disappearance of Nancy Guthrie and the haunting home security footage of her potential abductor has led to a spike in inquiries about home monitoring. Home security company SimpliSafe has seen a 50% increase in website traffic in the Tucson area in particular in the last month compared to the week prior to Guthrie's abduction. And they've seen a 20% year-over-year increase in web traffic nationwide. SimpliSafe Chief Product Officer Human Shahidi says their Active Guard service appeals to these new potential customers because it alerts and scares away intruders before they get into the house.
When there is news of crime that really hits home for customers, right? So when they hear about home break-ins and kidnappings like this particular case, that are so widespread and so dramatic in nature, we do frequently see that we get a spike in traffic and interest. And it's pretty common, that as people see news about crime happening, they start to worry more about protecting their home. And they really turn to home security as a great solution.
Shahidi says homeowners who have a professionally monitored home security system can also get a significant discount on their homeowner's insurance. Well, it is tax time, and many experts will tell you now is the time to get organized. In this Watching Your Wallet, consumer investigator Rachel DePompa shows you the simple steps you can take right now to make filing less stressful.
Getting organized will make tax filing season so much easier. Cherry Dale, the Vice President of Financial Education at Virginia Credit Union, says now is the time to gather documents like all of your W-2s, 1099s, student loan statements, and if you own a home, your 1098 mortgage interest form.
You want to look into the IRS's website to see if you might be eligible for a free file, for filing your taxes for free. And so if you are, go through their website. They will point you in the right direction on where you can actually file your taxes for free.
And if you do end up using some of the tax websites that are out there, when you start to fill out your tax information, the website will often lead you to whether a standard deduction is best for your family or if you should go with itemized. She says you may need to consult with a tax expert.
You also want to be wary of fraud. This is the time of year where fraudster will come out. They want your information that you would put into those different websites. So make sure when you're entering that information that it is the legitimate website that you're going to.
She says look at the address bar of the website for that https:// in the URL and that padlock icon so you know the site is secure. And again, a tax expert may also be able to guide you through the process. With this Watching Your Wallet, I'm Rachel DePompa.
You've heard the phrase no tax on tips or overtime. It's not necessarily no tax, it's actually a deduction you can take when you file your taxes. For instance, if you earn overtime pay at work, this year you may be able to deduct up to $12,500 of qualified overtime compensation on your federal income tax return. It's up to $25,000 for married people filing jointly. That deduction is gradually phased out if your modified gross income exceeds $150,000 or $300,000 for joint filers. Same goes for tips. There's a deduction this year. Michael Joyce with CW Advisors says for tipped workers, the maximum annual deduction is $25,000, which phases out for taxpayers with modified adjusted gross incomes over $150,000, $300,000 for joint filers.
Another piece to that, and this would apply to overtime as well, and this is a new part of the tax law, is a lot of people that earn tips, when they file their taxes, they're taking the standard deduction. So, but they can still deduct this. This is called a below the line deduction. So you can still take the standard deduction rather than itemized deductions, but still take this below the line deduction for tips or overtime.
The IRS estimates there are about 6 million workers who report tipped wages, so a good number of them would likely qualify for this. The overtime and tip deductions are temporary and only apply for the 2025 through 2028 tax years. A lot of the major tax software companies have actively prepared for this change, and you can always read more about it on their website, irs.gov, as well. Coming up, we're digging into the real reports coming into the scam squad, including a local woman who fell for a celebrity scam. That she thought she was working for a country music singer, Luke Combs, but it was a scammer she had befriended. Welcome back to The Watchdog. I'm Jen Pachano. Right now, it's time for the Ask the Scam Squad portion of our show. This is when we bring in a member of the Cuyahoga County Scam Squad to share with us real scams that are coming across their desk from local people. So joining us today is Pamela Anson from the Better Business Bureau. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so tell me about this celebrity scam that is happening and came in a report to the BBB of Cleveland.
Yeah, this is a complicated scam, and it really takes many forms. We had a consumer who was playing an online game, and in this game, she apparently had met Luke Combs, who she started to have a friendship with while they were playing these games online.
This famous country singer, Luke Combs, is who
Yes.
she thinks she's speaking with.
Yes. So when she was playing, they really just started to have a relationship over time. And the problem with these celebrity scams is it's usually a long haul scam. So you get to really trust the person that you're talking to online.
Yeah. And what happened in terms of what was being asked of her that was the red flags there?
So what really happened is he needed help within his business. So she wanted, Luke wanted to send information to her. So he asked for shipping. So she wanted to ship out some of her merchandise. So he was going to send her merchandise in the mail, and then she had to pay like $500 for this package.
Okay.
And she originally came to us because she filed a complaint against the shipping company because they would not release the products to her without payment.
Okay.
So she was originally unaware that this was even a scam at the time.
She just thought it was a bad shipping company.
Yes.
Yikes.
Who wouldn't do that?
Right.
So he wanted, and he kept saying, like, I'll send you this merchandise for you. You just need to pay the money up front.
So red flag there is, number one, a relationship with a celebrity that you wouldn't normally encounter.
Absolutely.
Right. Number two would be a payment up front like that.
Yes. You never want to wire or send money to a celebrity that you don't know. And celebrities, they have people to handle a lot of this merchandise for you. And they should have the money where you shouldn't need to pay for this merchandise.
Right, right. Is this something you're seeing with different celebrity names being used?
Oh, absolutely. I think more than ever now, especially with AI technology, these celebrity kind of scams are happening more and more.
Wow, I never thought about that in terms of like deep fakes and things like that.
Yeah, and AI, they can have the celebrity, endorse a weight loss drug or merchandise and say that they are a representative of a product that they aren't representing.
Yeah, so even if they're not asking for money directly, like in the shipping, you do have to kind of keep an eye out with and look with scrutiny anything that you think a celebrity is selling or endorsing. I would think.
Absolutely. And we look at our feed all the time and it's just running videos. But just because there's that video running on your For You page, that doesn't mean that's even from the official site of that celebrity. So you really have to do your due diligence and take a look at the site of where it's coming from.
All right, so what would you tell somebody, this particular person, like, I don't know, what did you tell her in terms of guidance?
We really said, don't send money to someone that you don't know. Unfortunately, this scam did keep going where he said he needed help paying members of his team and that he would send her $5,000. She would keep $200 of it, and then she would then send to his employees the rest of the $5,000.
I mean, that's a money mule, isn't it?
Essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what's most likely going to happen is she's going to get that phony check in, then she keeps the $200, that check bounces, and then someone else has the funds needed.
Right, on the hook there.
On the hook, yeah.
So then what would you tell anybody who may be either already on the hook or has been fed this, if you will, this kind of thing? What should they do?
You want to, if you can.
Take a deep breath is always the first step, right?
Yes, take a deep breath. And you can file a police report, reach out to the Federal Trade Commission. The sooner you report money's gone, the more likely that you are to get it back.
Yeah.
But if you're paying with cash or gift cards, which is a red flag in itself, you might not get your money back. Once that money's gone, it's gone.
It's likely gone for sure. All right. Thank you so much, Pamela.
Oh, thank you.
More and more older Americans are re-entering the workforce, a trend known as unretiring. Now, while reasons vary, including the rising cost of living, some say they just want to make connections and find a sense of purpose again. In this Aging Untold Extra, reporter Tisha Powell introduces us to a North Carolina woman who's using her passion to defy assumptions about aging.
The sound of working is music to Alice Taylor's ears.
Supposed to work. In order to get what you need, you have to work for it.
That is the philosophy Taylor lives by. She learned how to use her hands for work when she was a young girl. On this day, she is still using her hands, this time working for Dillard's. Aging Untold expert Amy O'Rourke says Taylor's life as a seamstress resonates with her.
One, I love the idea that someone at 85 is a seamstress. My mother was a seamstress. She didn't do it full time, but she was a seamstress, made all of our clothes. And so I kind of resonate with that story with her going back. And God bless all the people that get to benefit from her expertise.
Taylor does all the tailoring for Charlotte's 3 Dillards. She adjusts sleeves on shirts and jackets, hems pants, and works on gowns. That's her specialty. She works 5 days a week, 8 hours a day.
I can just sit there and work as long as people leave me alone.
By the way, this is Taylor's second stint working full-time.
It gives me energy. I just feel like I'm supposed to work. It makes me feel better. Just because you're retired don't mean you have to go home and sit down. And I'm not the rocking chair kind of people.
O'Rourke says the benefits are not just about health, but building community.
So I'm one of those people that would like to think that she wanted to give back and wasn't ready to stop giving and had a sense of purpose.
It's okay to work. Age doesn't mean anything. You have to work.
Well, your credit history could affect your homeowner's insurance. Up next, a national report reveals how much more you could pay with a low score. Well, should your credit history affect what you pay for homeowners insurance? A new report says many homeowners pay more if they have a lower credit score, but the insurance industry says it's part of risk-based pricing. In this Watching Your Wallet, consumer investigator Carice Jackman spoke with both sides.
It discriminates against people who are lower income. It hikes premiums for no good reason because it's not closely connected to risk, and we're trying to get it banned.
Michael DeLong with the Consumer Federation of America says his group has been tracking how credit history is used in homeowners insurance pricing.
We've gotten a very steady stream of consumers reaching out to us saying that my homeowner's insurance premium has skyrocketed, what can I do?
The report, called Penalize, says insurers in most states charge a typical homeowner nearly $2,000 more a year for having a low credit score rather than a high credit score.
Our report even found that in some cases you pay higher premiums if you have poor credit than if your home is in like a very risky, disaster-prone area.
On the other side, Mark Friedlander, spokesperson for the nonprofit Nonpartisan Insurance Information Institute, says insurers don't use a traditional credit score. They use a credit-based insurance score drawn from parts of your credit history.
They don't actually use credit scores like credit card companies, but they take elements of your credit history, and each company creates a proprietary credit-based insurance score.
For those who may say it's unfair, or they think it should not be a factor, what would you say to those who may feel that way if you're a homeowner and you're seeing this?
The way we look at it is risk-based pricing of insurance makes sure we have a level playing field so that consumers that have higher insurance scores don't subsidize those that have lower insurance scores.
DeLong says if you think your rate is unfair, contact your state insurance commissioner or lawmakers. With this Watching Your Wallet, I'm Carice Jackman.
Officials say credit history is just one factor in what you pay for homeowners insurance. Building costs, including materials and local weather risk, can also affect your premium. Well, it's time for this week's Recall Roundup. Nissan recalling more than 642,000 Rogues because of a potential fire hazard. They say the engine bearings in some 2023 to 2025 models could fail, and that could lead to hot oil leaking and causing a fire. A separate defect in 2024 and 2025 models could cause gears to break and cause an accident. Nissan says it will send letters to affected owners late next month. Over 200,000 items of children's sleepwear are being recalled due to a potential burn risk. The Consumer Product Safety Commission said Meijer has issued a recall for select MCS and Lullaby Lane branded one-piece footed sleepwear for babies because they violate the mandatory flammability standard for children's sleepwear. The onesies were sold at Meijer locations in Ohio and other states between December of 2024 through October of 2025. And a 19 recall alert now for ready-to-eat frozen meatballs sold at Aldi stores around the country. It's for the Bremer family size Italian-style meatballs. They could have pieces of metal in them. The meatballs have a best-by date of October 30th of this year. So far, there are no reports of anyone getting hurt from this, but if you have them in your freezer, return them to Aldi for a refund. Well, that's it for this first episode of the Watchdog here on 19 News Plus. We're going to continue to bring you the latest scam alerts, fraud reports, recalls, and trending consumer news each Wednesday evening at 6:35 from here on out. If you want to watch previous Scam Squad stories, you can find them on cleveland19.com under the News tab. I'm Jen Pachano. Thank you, everybody, for watching.